Now to some fair dinkum wildlife warriors on the front line of conservation. Dedicated rangers putting themselves in harm's way to protect endangered rhinos from poachers. And an Australian filmmaker is taking their story to the world.
Balule is home. It's not my heart, it's my whole life.
I'd say this is just under 2 kilos of horn, and on the black market you're looking anywhere between 60 and 80,000 US dollars per kilo.
Okay, let's go.
There's just something special about being here, and I think it would be great if all humanity could just connect with the natural world.
Yeah, beautiful pictures. Director-producer Paula Gruseven joins me now, along with head warden Ian Novak in Balule in South Africa. Paula, to you first, congratulations first up on this series, because it's an incredible look at incredible work being done to save these endangered rhinos. What got you interested in this story in the first place?
Firstly, thanks, Deb. We're all really proud of the series, and I always wanted to do something. It just took a while to get there, and I was up here in 2022 working on a different project and met Ian, and we met for coffee the day before the shoot, and he's quite an intimidating dude, and he got out of the car and camos and guns and stuff, and we ended up sitting down and having a really long sort of 3-hour conversation where he told me Balule's story and conservation issues beyond the rhino that they face. And I just said to him, I said, I think I found the story I was looking for. And here we are.
And here you are. And without giving too much away, Ian, Balule really is a conservation success story, isn't it?
It is now, yeah. The reserve's got a wonderful history, but all of us suffered with the onslaught of the poaching. And I think the turnaround that we managed to do is a success story. And we'll just try and keeping it like that.
It is confronting, though, I've got to say, seeing a rhino having its horn cut off with a chainsaw, and I know that it's meant to be like cutting off a fingernail, but you must have mixed feelings, Ian, about doing it.
No, absolutely. I mean, we would all love to just see them being natural and not having to do this, and the only thing that keeps us going is that it's not permanent. You know, it grows back, and hopefully one day the situation is that when human greed stops being such a bad thing, that they can get back to how they were before. But yeah, it's not a nice thing to do, but it is very relieving to see them walking around without something that human beings want for greed and keeps them alive. So it's a terrible trade-off, but it keeps them alive, and that's what counts for now.
Deb, can I just say, we were here for the big dehorning operation. And I think the first 3 rhinos that we went to, it was so confronting, myself and our crew. You know, you're kind of running around, but you've got tears flooding down your face. It's awful to think that we need to do this to protect them, but, you know, or that people could even...
And Ian, you're conservationists, but you're running a paramilitary operation here. It's quite intense what you've got to do to stop these poachers from claiming the lives of these rhinos.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, the situation, but, you know, we all got into conservation to preserve, and there's different challenges that face you at different times, and you've got to step up to them. And unfortunately, our security, which is just one part of the job that we do, needed to go that way because it is a war out there. And, you know, if you're a conservationist at heart, whatever challenge is in front of you, you must stand up to it. So that's what we had to do. None of us got into this to be soldiers, but we did get into it to protect the wildlife. And if that's what it takes, that's what we do.
And your work would obviously be completely different if there wasn't a black market for rhino horn. Can you ever see a day where you don't have to be removing the horns from rhinos, where they can be roaming freely in their natural state, free of the threat of poachers?
You know, I wish for that. Do I think it's realistic in the next short while? No, and maybe even in the next decade. I don't know what it's going to take to do something about this demand. You know, it's out of our hands. So we just fight the fight that we can, which is on the ground, and it's very taxing. But luckily, it's not all that we do. We get to do other conservation work too, which why we're here. But for the foreseeable future, no, I can't see it changing.
Yeah. Well, Paula, thank you for capturing it. And Ian, thank you for the tremendous work that you and all the rangers are doing. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And you can catch the reserve on Stan right now. It's well worth a watch.